This is ChangeMakers with Katie Gore, finding the right solutions for the affordable housing community.
Welcome back to my conversation with ChangeMaker David Northern, the President and CEO at the Housing Authority of Birmingham. David, you have a lot of redevelopment experience going way back and recently during your time in Illinois. And in part one, you mentioned that Birmingham has $40 million of projects under development or redevelopment in various stages. So what are those going to look like over the next several years?
Well, one thing that I'm doing right now is that in coming in as a new leader, a lot of projects were shovel ready already, and some were trying to move along that spectrum and become shovel ready. But I want a holistic approach. I've talked to the mayor. We have a great mayor here that's very innovative, and we've sat down and had conversations with other partners, like Alabama Power and UAB, and we want to do a holistic approach to repositioning so that the funds that come here that's part of affordable housing development, the funds that come here as part of economic development and job creation, and just building healthy communities that's less dense. So that our people can have that benefit and that opportunity to be successful and safe. A couple of our developments are older developments, 60 years plus, and we have some environmental issues we got to address. So just taking our time and coming out with that footprint. I think back when I was, in the Northwest Indiana area early, and Gary, Indiana did his first Hope 6 project, and I was there at the table listening and learning as a young pup coming out of college into the housing industry and looking at the Chicago Housing Authorities, great work they did with the plan for transformation, but also some of the errors they made when we talked about relocation. And in Philly, I worked in Philly for some time, and we did a lot of demolition and looking at Atlanta's One Atlanta goal is related to housing. That type of approach is what I want to bring here. Take those lessons that we've learned, how to be successful and how to move people along in the right way, but also develop smart, safe, decent, and sanitary housing that's going to last into the future.
I read that in your first 100 days in Birmingham, your number one job was to do a lot of listening,
Yes.
and that you've just launched an Office of Constituent Concerns. What are
Yes.
your goals for that office?
Well, one of the things that I heard during our interview process, and I applaud the Housing Authority of Birmingham District for their recruitment, not just because they got me, but because the way they handled it. Not only did we deal with the recruitment organization, we dealt with a select group of board members. We dealt with community leaders. So I had an opportunity to meet with them, but also our resident leaders and a small amount of staff. And I was, blessed and fortunate that not just the board, but also the group of staff members and the resident leaders that was there all voted for me as the person that they wanted to pick to be the next leader here at the Birmingham Housing Authority. So I came in with a level of confidence and understanding that, will we have challenges? Will we have days we may not see eye to eye? But as a group of individuals that's focused on one goal, we can make it happen. And so that's something that's exciting. So creating that Office of Constituent Concerns is a way that individuals can, one, get their answers responded to, their concerns responded to, but also we can track it and kind of figure out what is it that we're doing as an organization. If everybody's calling in about the waiting list, maybe we're not messaging enough about the waiting list. If everybody's calling in about us not answering phones or errors that's occurring in maintenance, maybe we should focus on that. So that office is not just focused on ensuring individuals get the responses in a timely manner, but also allowing an organization to look at what are we doing, look at those responses and those questions and train better and message better to our general community and population.
Quadell has done a lot of work in customer service for our clients over the years, and it
Yes.
really is a continual commitment on everybody's part in the organization. I mean, it's not a one and done. It is something that has to stay in process, in motion, and every single person in the industry, every single person in your organization at all levels has to understand, the protocols, the urgency, the importance, the follow-up, and just really how to engage with the person. Because one of the things we tell our employees is that you don't know on the other side of that phone how desperate their life situation may be. And so you
Exactly.
have to issue extra grace because they're not going to talk with you as if life is normal. If they're calling about the waiting list, there's urgency in their voice because all of these other life dynamics are in play. So this Office of Constituent Concern, that's a really big job for everybody there. But it's also so crucial because it's a way that you get to assess performance and really get feedback on what's happening. So great job for you guys in tackling that. Do you think that you'll be doing surveys and some kind of post interaction feedback?
Yes, for certain. We are already working on surveys with our staff members along with clients. But in my first 100 days, also, I have a protocol I utilize with a consultant to help out with. It's called the Voice of the Constituents. As everybody know, our constituents are not just our clients, but it's also our stakeholders in the community, our potential and current partners, our elected officials, our staff members, our board members. And so we go out and approach and try to gain information and try to figure out what is it that you dislike about the organization? What is it that you want to know about this new leader that's here, right? Yeah, you're reading all this stuff, but what is it that you really want to know? And so we look at the feedback that we receive from those small, select focus groups and surveys and try to address it, give the people what they want.
Have there been any issues either with Birmingham or with the organization or even in your first 100 days that have surprised you?
My second COVID positive. That surprised me. It had me down for some time, but my team really rallied around me and really was able to, keep things moving forward in the right way, along with my board members also. But, it's just a lot going on. When I came in, Birmingham was on a limited review from the local HUD field office here. But actually, when I first was announced that I was coming to Birmingham, I had started already working with, the Housing Authority, staff, leadership, board members, along with the HUD office here. Because, as a lifelong houser and individual that care about not just Birmingham, but the industry as a whole, we have to lend our skill sets and our abilities. And so in terms of addressing some of the concerns before I even signed on a dotted line as officially the next president and CEO of Birmingham, I was working here with the staff, with the board, with the local elected officials and the HUD office. And what I found was that people care. They care about what's going on. They care about what's happening. They was looking for a leader that can come in and really, move the, needle forward for the community and the clients that we serve, for the various communities. We have 14 major traditional type public housing communities here in Birmingham, and many of them need some work. So we serve over close to 30,000 citizens in Birmingham. And so it's a tall job, but with the right support, which that's one thing I found is that it is support here. People do care about what's happening. And, HUD's been great from day one of working with myself and the team to move our agenda forward in the right way.
Do you have any other partnerships or initiatives that you want to highlight here?
Well, right now we have a number of developments that's underway, public-private partnerships, some pieces that's coming about in Southtown, which is one of our traditional public housing, but we're bringing not only affordable housing back, but some market rate and some commercial, and that's what's exciting. So we're taking the community's area that was distressed and really upgrading it into a better way. And along that line, we have amazing partners right now. Like our next call today, I'll be doing an introduction to our vaccine efforts with partnership with the Jefferson County Health Department, along with the University of Alabama, Birmingham. Alabama Power has been at the table with us. It's just been so many opportunities to grow and have great partners. And I really remember I only officially started a little over a month ago, February 1st, but we're doing so many great things, and there's so much opportunity to have some low-hanging fruit that make things successful, along that way of the hard work that it's going to take to really take us to the next level as an organization.
Well, Birmingham is definitely poised to be able to move forward now with your leadership. So I'm sure that they're going to be very proud to have you. And, there's so much work to be done really in every one of these communities. So it's, just to have somebody as energetic and visionary as you is a great moment for them. I want to ask you one last question here. You and I follow each other on, our social media accounts, and I really appreciate the variety of things that you publish and just the articles that you bring forward because they're really they give us pause to think. It's great to see the shovel pictures, but there's so much work that has to happen before you get to talk about that. But I want to highlight one thing that you wrote a real heartfelt and very poignant piece several months ago titled Being Black in America. And you
Yes.
talked about people achieving their full potential. And I know it's something, just as we mentioned earlier, that you can really speak to, obviously. But I want to bring forward what else you covered in that article, because somebody could say that it was really innovative, but it was just so to the point. It was so impacting. And I want to give you a chance to just really speak about that and what you said in that article.
Unfortunately, during COVID, we were dealing with the civil unrest and the shootings and just so much happening, in this country from top to bottom, whether it's politics or various communities. That piece, I was proud that the News Gazette had reached out to me to pen my story. And at first, I didn't know if I wanted to get involved. As a leader in housing, sometimes you step on people's toes, but I've always been that type of person that if not me, why not me? And my story is powerful, so I will share it. And I'm glad that piece that the News Gazette did, the editor did, it was awarded the editor and publishers award for 10 publishers that did it right. So the News Gazette reached out and said, "Thank you for being a part of this. We received this honor, but it's really yours and the other members that made the opportunity to share their story." But getting back to that story, I was the first African American CEO in Lake County, Illinois. And that community is it's a very rich community. Close to the jurisdiction I served, it was the fourth largest house store in the state of Illinois. It was only 2%, and so I just made a choice to run for the school board because it wasn't people that looked like me. I was the first African American school board member elected there. And it wasn't just about my kids, but it's about other kids that didn't look like my kids. That needed to see individuals like myself in leadership roles and fighting for the community. So I coached football and basketball and collected water for Flint, and had the kids that I worked with help with that. But I can recall when we had a major development happening in Grays Lake. We were working on this development, and when people hear housing authority and people see African American leaders come in, the first thing they think is Cabrini Green in Chicago, and that's still unfortunate that in these days and age we still have to deal with that, because that was not too long ago where that occurred. But I had to make a decision. And that decision was to either go to the meetings and stand up and focus and fight on being black, maybe, or working at a housing authority, or providing that needed asset of affordable housing to that community. I made the choice to stay away and provide guidance from afar. And the project came to fruition. It was a great project. It was a low-income housing tax credit project for seniors and people with disabilities. And actually, my mom eventually lived there for a couple of years after my dad passed away. I moved her down. And so it was a great development that I was proud of. But it's hurt. It's hurtful that, I couldn't walk in a room and talk about this development, that the housing authority couldn't be up front and at the table when we were a major investment part and piece of that development, or an individual that care about the community, the same community my kids went to school in, the same community I paid a pretty high amount of taxes in. Me going to that room or those meetings would have maybe possibly derailed the project when we already had the NIMBY fight, when we already had individuals not wanting affordable housing there because they felt like, you bring in Chicago to our community. And that was not the case. Most people across this nation don't understand that when affordable housing is developed in communities, it's the people in those communities. Today you may not need it, tomorrow you may. Today your parents may not need it, tomorrow they may. And so that was tough, but I wanted to make sure I shared that story because it's something that still scarred me to this day.
It's an interesting perspective. It's a truthful perspective, and it's one that needs to be heard because so many of us have maybe no awareness, or others have awareness they choose not to pay attention to, or some people are in that moment as well. And they're trying to figure out, do I lean in? Do I lean out? And how does that affect me moving forward? And, you have to make a judgment call. How does it impact the project, the situation? And we don't always make the right choices. And so learning from that and what that article did was it really had you go back and redetermine what that meant to you, what that moment meant to you. So I encourage anybody listening to go ahead and find that article. And where should they look for that?
They can search the News Gazette website, Being Black in America. They can search on my LinkedIn and Facebook and my Twitter account about it. Put my name in a Google search. It'll probably pop up if you put in David A. Northern Sr. Being Black in America. That was powerful, and I'm thankful to be a part of it. And it was an award-winning piece. But you're right. That stories like that need to be heard. 2015, like I said, I became the first African American elected school board member in that jurisdiction, that district. In 2009, I was the first CEO of the Housing Authority. So, as we move away from Black History Month, I was part of that Black history as related to that. And I'm thankful for being a part of that. I'm thankful that I was able to lend myself to make change in those various communities and in those various organizations.
Well, we encourage you, keep being yourself, keep moving things forward, keep posting and bringing us all into another level of awareness, and keep marching on. So thank you for your time on this Forbes Quadell podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to share my story, and you guys keep doing great work. I've been friends and worked with Quadell for a number of years, and like you said, we're connected on social media and from the Hoosier State and masters from Indiana University. So let's just keep marching forward throughout this industry, sharing the messages so that we can create more leaders, but also people can understand what we really do as housers.
Completely agree. Thank you so much.
All righty. You guys have a great day, and thanks again. Be safe.
Thanks for listening to ChangeMakers with Katie Gore. To find out more about Katie, go to quadell.com. That's QUADEL.com. This has been a production of Forbes Books Radio.